guy that you've looked to his eyes. You're a big fan of Charles Omenihu. He's had plenty of cryptic tweets on Twitter about, I don't know, potentially, hinting at stuff. And apparently he really wants to be in Kansas City. He really does. There was a guy on our defensive line overview show a couple weeks ago. You talked about a guy that you want us to bring back. Don't know what number it's going to be, but it's a guy you want to bring back here, especially the D-line. Pretty depleted. A lot of guys are free agents this offseason, him being one of them. And apparently Chris Jones wants him in Kansas City. So here is Nate Taylor talking about what he knows about the Charles Omenihu situation, as well as Brett Veach talking about the defensive line and how he wants to kind of treat this offseason as a way to bolster on the trenches. So very good nuggets here. And also, if you look behind JD, he talks about the trenches and his what we need to get. So it's almost like Brett Veach watches the show and knows what JD wants. So
yeah, JD said it was what we need. So we're gonna talk about it.
Here's Nate Taylor and Brett Veach on the D-line.
When it comes to Charles Omenihu, he wants to come back, and he's pushing, and he's prodding, and he's poking, and he's in their face all day long. It's fascinating how the Chiefs will handle Charles Omenihu, who wants to be back. And there's a presumed assumption, I'm not saying this is fact, but a presumed assumption that Chris Jones would like Charles Omenihu back. Guys, he gonna keep calling them. He gonna keep texting them.
If you look at how we've handled the off seasons, whether it was a Joe Tooney or trading for a Brown or a Taylor or Frank Clark or Chris Jones, I mean, it's Mike Dana last year. I mean, we're always investing in the offense and defensive lines. It's just some years you have more numbers to work with than others, and I mean, that would probably be a similar challenge this year, and it's just coming up with some different unique plans. But I think our priority is always on the fronts first, and this will be no different.
So JD is taking a quick bathroom break, but yeah, so this is interesting. Obviously, Charles Omenihu last year talked about a contract extension. We want to get paid a lot more. He made it known last year before he was a free agent. This year happens. He comes back eventually from the ACL injury that he sustained in the AFC Championship game last year. And he's a guy, and we saw the difference he makes when he comes back as far as what we're able to do on the defensive line. You can move him inside, you can move him outside, just kind of more versatility within the defensive line structure and the strategy that goes into it. So one of the kind of the biggest Swiss Army knives we have on the defensive line, that's Charles Omenihu. Love it. I love Charles Omenihu. JD is back. JD, what's up, brother?
What's going on? There we go.
So just talking
about, baby, let's go.
just talking about Charles Omenihu, yep. And obviously he wants to come back to Kansas City. He's making it be known. He's letting the sources know that he wants to stay in Kansas City. And Brett Veach talked about the moves they make every offseason. If you look at his track record, it's always trench moves. You got, Orlando Brown, Frank Clark, bringing Mike Dana back last year, signing Charles Omenihu 2 years ago in the first place. That's kind of where his priorities have always been as far as bolstering our offensive line and defensive line. And when we talk about our defensive line being depleted, all these guys are going to be free agents this coming off season. Charles Omenihu being one guy who wants to come back, and we've seen what he does when he does come back as far as, adding that kind of versatility structure to the defensive line, allowing him to play inside, outside, allowing Chris Jones to play inside, outside, and also giving Chris Jones kind of a partner in crime, which we didn't have. And even Frank Clark was really never that partner in crime. We thought he was. I mean, playoffs, Frank Clark dominated, but as far as regular season, we never really saw that. Omenihu, we haven't really gotten to see a full season of this. And we talked about it 2 weeks ago. Let him come back. Give him a full year. There's no suspension. There's no more ACL injury. He's back and he's ready to go. What do you make of all the noise surrounding potential Charles Omenihu's reunion?
I don't know. I heard Nate when he was talking, that Charles Omenihu is just being in their face. He's making sure to let it be known. I know Charles wants to be back here. It's going to be hard to leave from a championship team when you know that they're doing all the right things. When you know that this is the formula for winning. And you see success where you are. So he understands that the grass is not green on the other side. He's been to Houston. He's been to San Fran. He knows this is the place for him. And he wants to stay. For Brett Veach, what's the price point going to be? That's the question. And that's something they had to find in negotiation. And so when you're sitting there talking about priority-wise, okay, I think what I say the top 5 guys was Omenihu, it was Nick Bolton, it was Hollywood Brown, Kareem Hunt, and who was the 5th guy? DJ Humphries, I think. I said Humphries, right? And we thought because Trey Smith was, his price point was too large for us to adhere to that. And it's going to be based off of what Omenihu wants. And so what they're going to base it off of your availability, what you've been able to give. Now, because he is so versatile in what he's able to do, brings a lot of value to the table. When you do have him where he's not, the suspension, he had to deal with that. Then he ends up getting hurt. And so he missed part of the season because he was hurt. I don't think we've seen the best of Charles Omenihu when he got back here. But do you give him a full off season and get him here? He's a guy that's going to be grateful. I think, man, he loves it. He loves it in Kansas City. Like I said, man, it's hard to leave an organization that is a winner. So, hey, man, I just tell him, man, keep politicking, keep talking to him. They're going to get down to the nitty gritty. But he brings a lot of stuff to the table. He brings a lot of stuff to the table as far as what we can do on the defensive line. He's been able to give Chris Jones a little bit of break when he's able to be in there. He's been able to wreck shop, man. He's a grown man when he comes out to come play. And so if you get a Charles Omenihu at 100% after the injury, you're gonna see what you're gonna be able to have with this guy. It's a big guy, long, solid, does a great job. So, hey, man, like I said, it's all going to be dependent on what the price point's going to be, what Veach and those guys are willing to do, so.
It's interesting, too, because, usually during these off seasons and stuff, when a guy is a free agent, they usually aren't, going back to a team and, making it be known, I want to be back in that team. I want to stay here. They usually make it seem like, oh, I'm wanted by so many teams. Oh, yeah. Their agent will draw up stuff like, oh, Charles Omenihu and the Houston Texans are interested, or the Raiders are interested in Charles Omenihu. Instead, we're hearing the opposite. Instead, it's Omenihu's telling one of the main beat reporters in Kansas City that I want to go back to Kansas City. He's writing tweets, deleting tweets about his interest in coming back to Kansas City. It's just, I love that because we want guys who want to be here, right? I get the whole negotiating process. I get the whole fact that guys want to be able to drum up interest. Hey, look, you better sign me because Green Bay's got their eyes on me. I mean, you see the reports. You're not even seeing that he legitimately wants to be here, and it's a loss of leverage on his part by doing this. I think, right? So and I think it tells you a good amount how he feels about the organization. I think for me, a young edge rusher like this, a guy who can play inside and outside and a need, I feel like that's something that, as a fan, I love that because he's not trying to play the market. He legitimately wants to be here, and I think there's something that goes to that a little bit.
Well, they could use it against you because some teams you're like, hey man, look, Green Bay wants to sign me. Well, okay, we appreciate you coming out. We thank you for it, and let you walk. So, who has the leverage here with this? The problem is when you use it for Charles Omenihu, who has been hurt, who has missed games, I don't think that's leverage on his part. It's not. I think he's making the best play for it, is let him know how loyal he is to the Chiefs, how much he loves the organization, where he wants to be in the future. And so why not sing the praises of the Chiefs? Why not do that? It's like, hey, man, look, you got your guy here. You wanted a dog on the defensive line? You found him. So not just Chris Jones, but you also have me. So take a bet on me. Put your money on me. And I think he'll show up like he should. we seen Charles Omenihu at his best when he's able to come in. He's been a wrecker. He's made a difference. So that's the thing. So I don't think he necessarily lose leverage that way. I think he's going about it the right way. But then all of a sudden, what you'll see is, when free agency and all that comes about, okay, let me look at it a different way. So now, during this offseason, okay, what ends up happening, your agent is talking to other people, talking to the team that you were with, but he's also, without a doubt, talking to other teams. He's getting a little test of the market. So make no mistake about it. His agent's trying to see what's out here, okay? There's different ways of doing that. Different conversations just going on. And so when you're down here, when you're at this Senior Bowl and you're at the combine and whatnot, you're trying to get a good touch where everybody is. And so the great thing about the combine is everybody is there. Coaches, GMs, trainers, scouts, everybody in the organization is there. So when you're at these restaurants where all the guys go and the coaches, you go and have a little sip. Hey man, what's going on? Hey, I'm Charles Omenihu's agent. Oh, okay. What's going on? What's happening? He did well in Kansas City, man. Is he okay? Yeah, he's okay. We don't quite know what's going to happen with Kansas City. What are y'all thinking? He might be free coming in. Do y'all look for somebody like a Charles Omenihu? Maybe, I don't know, man. We kind of talked about him. I could talk to our guy a little bit. These are how these things go. And so there's things that's going on at this moment that's having a conversation, and his agent, because he's getting paid to do the negotiation, he needs to find out exactly what the real temperature is for him in the rest of the league. This is what this whole week is all about, man, at the combine. So he's saying he wants to be here. All right. His agent in the whole time is giving him updated information, maybe possibly about other teams and stuff. So all this is going on, every single one of it. So that's how it works, man. Down in Indianapolis, this is where all the power plays happening at this moment. That's why they're talking about Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, all these different guys are having these conversations. Everybody is speaking right now. So
I'm seeing, we got a few comments here. So Drew Boucher, Charles knows he's already at a disadvantage, so why not show them that he's loyal? He knows it means he's going to be a discount deal, but money isn't everything. What do you think about that?
I think there's validity in this statement. Does he feel like he's at a disadvantage? I don't know. Maybe he's just singing their praises. And maybe realistically, he's like, okay, I get it, right? I've been hurt. But like you said to me, it's the first time he's ever been hurt. So for him, like we said before, you got to know what your worth is. You have to. But I do like that Drew Boucher talking about he's loyal, right? That's important. It's important to let them guys know that. So discount deal, what does that look like? Yeah, but money isn't everything, especially if you're happy where you are. Yeah, money isn't everything. It's not. So they always say money doesn't bring happiness. It brings some type of happiness, but it don't bring peace of mind sometimes.
Yeah.
So
especially our guy's already been with 3 organizations already. So
Perfection 2K said he better take that league minimum. Come on, man. You ain't doing that. Perfection 2K, man. Cut it out, brother.
He might take a discount, but he ain't taking that discount.
He ain't doing that. Yeah, because he's worth more than that league minimum. I know you being funny, but hopefully you're being funny.
And plus with his injuries, it takes another injury to be, to really, really ruin a career. So, get your money as much as you can, because a guy like that who's already missed a good chunk of his career from injuries, get as much as you can.
So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because we talked about this draft, how the D line is the big thing, and Veach said it a million times throughout his press conferences, how the defensive line is the strength of this draft. I wonder how much of that is at play here for Omenihu, knowing that we have 3 picks in the top 65 between our 2 third-round picks that we have, and then also our first, second, and 2/3. we got a lot of high picks within the first 70, or the first 90, whatever. And it's a big defensive line draft, so you can go DN, D tackle. And I wonder maybe he knows the writing could be on the wall. No, I want to make sure they know I want to be here, to make sure they know what their strategies, right? Like, go to the draft, get a D tackle. You don't need to get multiple ends because I want to be here. But I do think delving into the draft, going D line, D tackle, D end, and signing Omenihu, beautiful, because like the Eagles showed, you can never have enough guys to go get after the quarterback all game long. And I think that is a recipe for success that we can try to model a little bit. But yes, I love what Omenihu is doing here with this whole thing.
Yeah, no, and we know at this moment, Marcus, the guys that we have on the contract on the D line it's kind of slim at this moment. So, when you have a guy, heavy hitter like Charles Omenihu, absolutely helps. That helps also too, because in the draft you still don't know what you're going to get with a guy. You don't know how he's going to pan out. So do you bank on and say, hey, Charles Omenihu is going to be the guy that comes in and does the damage that we need, right? He fits the bill. He fits the bill because he plays inside and out. He does it. He does it all. So there it is. So we're looking at the free agents, man. Nandi, Mike Pinnell, Marlon Tua, Polotu, Omenihu, Turk, and Malik. These are all guys, and I even see some of the guys that might be on a roster may not necessarily be there.
I mean, so you have Jones. Obviously, we talked about DT being the forefront of all this, but defensive end wise, Dana, Karlaftis, FAU. I mean, Karlaftis is a full-time guy. Dana in and out. FAU hasn't proven to be a full-time guy. That other end spot, man, we talk about rotations. We have a bunch of guys who aren't really, besides Karlaftis, are a bunch of rotational guys. We don't have another full-time guy. And like we talked about, Omenihu gives us that versatility from the inside and outside.
Yeah. And it's vital to have that guy on the outside, man, to bring heat. You have to. From the inside and the out. You have to do that. You have to find those guys. And it can't just be some timey guys. One guy can have just a good game and blows up, and then all of a sudden he's non-existent for the next 4 or 5 games. You can't do that. You got to have somebody that's going to be in there, bring pressure every single game, and you could count on that. You could count on it. So that's the way it works, man. It's a performance-based business. So.
And plus, I just want to see him get a full season for a change in Kansas City. He hasn't had that yet in 2 years, so I want a full season from the guy.
Yeah. So, that's true. This is how it works, man. The battle of it right down during the offseason, during this time. We talk about the struggle. It's going to be a struggle with getting guys signed. The cap went up, okay, which is a good thing. But they're going to be trying to cut the fat off. That's the way it works. Question is, where are they going to cut the fat off at? Who they're going to sign? They're looking at free agents as well through this entire process. So the same thing, like I said, people are talking to other teams about their guys. The Chiefs are getting a little, where's the little birdie at? Hey, what's going on? I'm going to sit over here. Brett Veach is talking to, the dude down in Jacksonville and everybody else, right? Dude look young. See the GM from Jacksonville? Oh, my gosh. I'm like,
25.
Yeah, I'm like, whose kid is this? Did he get lost? I'm like, wow.
Tage and I were talking about it earlier because I've seen so many people say, "Oh, this guy's a whiz kid. This guy's been around for he's responsible for such and such and these drafts and such and such." Tage was like, "Dude," he was like, "This guy's just been in the room, but all these other guys being promoted elsewhere, so he's the only guy still left." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, there you go, GM now."
That's it. He's benefiting off the success of other people around him. That's the way this world works. Okay, yeah. So I know everybody push out there meritocracy and all those different things, right? Hey, man, it's all about who you know most of the time. So, and not taking anything away from the guy. I'm sure the guy's a brilliant guy. I'm sure he is. But yeah, if he's getting success because of people who's been around, sure.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.